Hello, miladies of inestimable value. She's not quiet because she has nothing to say. She's quiet because your world doesn't deserve access to her thoughts. Let that sink in. Sigma females are not just mysterious. They're architected like vaults. And unless you have the right frequency, no charm, status, or sweet talk is getting you inside. Here's the twist. According to behavioral studies, the majority of high-functioning introverted women display what psychologists call invisible dominance. That means they're leading, influencing, and outmaneuvering the room without anyone noticing until it's too late. You see, while everyone's out here chasing visibility, the Sigma female is mastering invisibility and using it as power. She's not posting quotes about knowing her worth. She's busy silently charging interest on anyone who underestimated her. So today, we're cracking open the vault. Just a little. But don't get comfortable, because these aren't your everyday rules like she loves books and bubble baths. No, these are the shadow codes, the 12 secret sacred rules Sigma females live by and guard with surgical precision. Some will confuse you, others will shock you, all will awaken you. Ready? Just don't blink. She hates being watched too long. Number 1. She values energy over appearance, achievement, or affection. She doesn't care how impressive your life looks on the outside. You could walk in with a designer suit, the right friends, the smoothest words, and still get dismissed in 5 seconds. Why? Because your energy didn't pass the test. Sigma females have a radar for vibes that money can't manipulate and charm can't disguise. They sense desperation under confidence, manipulation behind kindness, and ego disguised as success. That's what they're scanning for, not your status, not your style, your spirit. It's not something she does intentionally either. It's automatic. While others are dazzled by surface-level attraction, she's listening to how your energy feels. Are you calm or chaotic? Are you present or performative? Are you being real or just putting on the best version of yourself to be liked? These questions aren't asked aloud, but her nervous system answers them before you say a word. A Sigma female won't say, "I don't like your vibe." She'll simply withdraw. You'll feel her go cold mid-conversation, not because you said something wrong, but because your energy felt wrong. You might have done nothing objectively offensive, but to her, your presence triggered alarm bells. Not drama, just misalignment. And here's what most people get wrong. Thinking they can impress her into connection. You can't. You can't buy your way into her world. You can't compliment your way in. You can't prove your worth through achievements, awards, or the people you know. If your energy feels off, if it feels insecure, fake, needy, arrogant, or just plain chaotic, she's already emotionally locked the door. The conversation might continue, but her interest has exited the building. She's not being difficult, she's being selective. Her peace took too long to build to let someone unravel it with unstable energy. If you trigger stress instead of stillness, that's the only signal she needs. No drama, no confrontation, just silence. That's why some people think she's cold. But it's not coldness, it's calibration. She moves toward calm energy and away from chaos. You don't have to be perfect around her. You just have to be real, self-aware, and emotionally clean. Number 2, she knows her rarity is her risk. She knows she's not for everyone. And that's not a bitter realization, it's a sacred one. Her mind works differently. Her presence feels intense. Her energy doesn't blend in, it disrupts. And she's painfully aware that the very things that make her magnetic are also the reasons people pull away. Her depth requires emotional oxygen most people can't breathe in. Her silence forces people to sit with their own noise. Her standards expose how low others have set theirs. That's not arrogance, it's awareness. Being rare isn't just a blessing, it's a burden. Because when you're wired like her, you don't get the luxury of casual connection. Most conversations feel too shallow. Most interactions too performative. Most people want the version of her that's easier to digest, not the full, unfiltered soul that doesn't bend, beg, or entertain. She's been there before, lowering her frequency to feel accepted, shrinking her intensity to seem nicer, dumbing herself down just to be understood. And each time, it felt like spiritual self-harm. She learned the hard way. Acceptance that costs you your authenticity is just rejection with better lighting. So now she walks alone if she has to. Not because she enjoys isolation, but because she refuses to be loved in costume. She'd rather be misunderstood in truth than celebrated in pretense. She knows people will label her too much for having needs they can't meet, and too cold for protecting herself from emotional beggars. She accepts that, because trying to water herself down for people who drink from shallow cups only leaves her spiritually dehydrated. And yet even with this clarity she carries the weight of her rarity like armor and ache, because while she's fine alone, she still craves soul recognition. But she won't settle for mirrors that only reflect the version of her that makes others feel safe. She waits for those who see her depth and don't drown, who hear her silence and understand it speaks louder than noise. Until then, she walks, unapologetically. And if that means walking alone, so be it, because she'd rather be real and alone than surrounded and invisible. Number 3, she doesn't reject control, she makes it irrelevant. She doesn't waste time resisting control, because control never even gets close. While others are busy battling for autonomy, she's quietly building a life so self-directed, so internally fortified, that no one dares assume power over her. She doesn't raise her voice to demand freedom. She designs her environment to make interference impossible. There's no need to rebel when you've already removed yourself from systems that expect submission. She doesn't need to push back against dominance because dominance has no entry point. You can't play power games with someone who isn't on your board. That's what makes her dangerous. She doesn't play by the rules, but she also doesn't waste energy trying to break them. She simply walks around them. Better yet, she builds her own structure where control has no purpose. People don't notice it at first. She's not loud, she's not combative, she's not performing strength in obvious ways. But then they realize they have zero leverage. They can't emotionally manipulate her. They can't use obligation to guilt her. They can't use attraction to distract her. They can't dangle promises of protection, status, or approval, because she already provides all of that for herself. Her independence isn't loud, but it's absolute. She doesn't need you to grant her space. She's already taken it. And the more someone tries to step into her life with a controlling hand, the faster they feel irrelevant. Not because she attacks them, but because her world is so self-contained that it doesn't make space for authority figures. She doesn't disobey. She just disappears. This is what people misunderstand about her strength. It's not in how she fights. It's in how she makes the fight unnecessary. You can't dominate someone who doesn't need what you're offering. You can't control someone who doesn't rely on your validation, your resources, or your presence. So she doesn't reject control with resistance. She dissolves it with design. That's the Sigma female's power, not rebellion but architecture. She builds her freedom so quietly, so deliberately that by the time you realize you can't own her, she's already gone. Number 4. She operates on silent standards, not loud demands. She doesn't hand out manuals. She doesn't offer disclaimers. She's not going to sit you down and walk you through the rules of how to treat her. If you need everything spelled out, you're already in the wrong room. Sigma females don't bark boundaries, they embody them. Her presence is the warning. Her vibe is the contract. And if you're not paying attention, she assumes you're not qualified to be there. She operates with what most people miss, silent standards. That means you won't hear her say, "Don't disrespect me." You'll just find her missing from your life the moment you do. She doesn't need to scream, explain, or give you a PowerPoint presentation on what hurt her. If your self-awareness isn't sharp enough to recognize when you've crossed a line, she won't waste her breath trying to teach you. This is what makes her so different and so intimidating. She believes that true respect doesn't require constant reminders. If you need her to warn you before you damage something valuable, you probably don't value it enough to begin with. She expects emotional intelligence, not permission to protect her peace. People often confuse her silence for passivity until she disappears. Then the realization hits like a brick. There won't be a second chance because she doesn't give them. Not out of cruelty, but principle. To her, offering more chances after a line is crossed is like inviting the same storm twice. And storms rarely come gentler the second time. She doesn't go back and forth. She doesn't negotiate the basics. She doesn't chase you down to explain why what you did was wrong. Her absence is the explanation. It's a message in a bottle that simply reads, "You didn't get it, and that's all I needed to know." That's the terrifying beauty of her standards. You never see them until it's too late. And once you break one, there's no dramatic exit, just silence. A silence that echoes louder than any argument. Because when a Sigma female leaves, it's not about creating guilt. It's about enforcing non-negotiables without ever saying a word. Number 5. She doesn't want to be chosen. She wants to be respected. Being wanted isn't enough for her. That's the part most people don't understand. You can desire her, admire her, even obsess over her. But if there's no genuine respect behind it, she'll treat your attention like background noise. To a Sigma female, being chosen is easy. Being respected is rare. And she has no interest in standing on the auction block, waiting to be picked like some prize. She's not a contestant. She's not campaigning for your approval. She's watching to see if you treat her presence like something sacred or something convenient. She doesn't melt when you call her beautiful. She's heard it. She doesn't lean in when you flatter her. That's predictable. What catches her attention is how you behave when you think she's not watching. How you speak about people with no power. How you treat boundaries you don't fully understand. How you react when she says no. Because respect isn't something you perform. It's something that leaks from your character. And if it's not there by default, nothing you say will matter. To her, attention without respect is insult wrapped in a compliment. You can say all the right things, send flowers, write poems. But if you interrupt her when she's thinking, talk over her in conversation, or act entitled to her time, she'll see through it immediately. Respect to her isn't about gestures. It's about presence. Do you listen with depth? Do you engage with integrity? Do you treat her time like it's valuable, even when there's nothing in it for you? And she notices. She notices everything. You might not even realize you failed the test, but once you do, it's already over. She'll go cold, not as revenge, but as reality. You're invisible now, because without respect, your attraction is noise, your charm is static, your presence is irrelevant. Sigma females are wired to move toward people who instinctively honor them, not just admire them. She doesn't need a pedestal, just a partnership where her worth isn't a debate, but a given. So no, she's not looking to be chosen. She already chose herself a long time ago. What she's scanning for is someone evolved enough to recognize her value without needing her to shrink, soften, or audition for it. If you can't do that, she'll walk away silently, and you'll spend forever wondering why. Number 6, she knows people like to figure her out, so she feeds them illusions. People can't help themselves. They want to solve her like a puzzle. The Sigma female walks into a room and instantly becomes a silent curiosity. They watch her body language, listen for hints in her tone, try to read between her carefully chosen words. But what they don't realize is this: she lets them do it. She wants them to think they're getting close. That's part of the design. She's not closed off because she's shy. She's private because she's strategic. She knows that the more people think they understand her, the less they actually question her. So she gives them breadcrumbs. She'll share just enough detail to paint a picture, but never enough to reveal the whole portrait. You'll think you've figured her out, but all you're holding is a decoy. Every conversation with her is layered. Her stories are true, but incomplete. Her openness is real, but curated. And her expressions? Calculated just enough to be sincere, but never so deep that you can map her internal world. It's not about deception. It's about protection. She understands how people weaponize intimacy. So instead of being an open book, she's a locked manuscript with only a few highlighted lines visible. This is how she keeps her power. The more someone tries to study her, the more they realize they're being studied in return. And while they're busy drawing conclusions, she's already made hers. She sees through intentions, not just actions. So she stays 3 steps ahead, always knowing what she's allowing you to see and what she's keeping off the table. What's dangerous is that she never pretends to be something she's not. She just never gives you access to the parts of her that matter most. You'll think she's confiding in you, opening up, trusting you, but what you're getting is the version of her designed for observation, not intimacy. The real her lives under layers you'll never touch unless she chooses, and even then, only partially. Her mystery isn't some accidental charm. It's not insecurity, it's her firewall. Because she knows curiosity can be more powerful than clarity. And as long as people are trying to figure her out, they're too distracted to realize they were never even close. Number 7. She doesn't confront betrayal. She studies it, then vanishes. She doesn't explode. She doesn't beg for explanations. She doesn't lash out or spiral into emotional theatrics. When betrayal hits, the Sigma female doesn't react the way people expect, because she's not interested in dramatic exits. She's interested in understanding. And once she does, that's when everything shifts. She'll go quiet, but not because she's unsure. She's watching. She's studying. She's putting the pieces together behind the scenes, not to confront you, but to confirm what her intuition already told her. She doesn't need to hear your side of the story. She just needs to see the pattern repeat once, maybe twice, that's all. And when the pieces align, she doesn't issue warnings. She doesn't give second chances. She simply decides, internally, ruthlessly, that you're done. And the way she leaves, it's surgical. No drawn-out goodbye, no emotional speech, no let's talk. She disappears with such eerie calm that it stings worse than any argument ever could. Because it's not just a goodbye, it's erasure. What confuses people most is how unaffected she seems. One day you're close. The next, you don't exist. There's no breakdown, no tears, no open wound you can poke at to get a reaction. Just absence. And in that absence, you begin to realize she was never attached to you. She was attached to the truth of who she thought you were. Once that illusion shattered, there was nothing left to hold on to. This is her form of closure. Not a conversation, but a calculation. She doesn't need an apology. She doesn't need your reasons. She needed clarity, and now she has it. And once her mind is made up, it's irreversible. You can cry, you can confess, you can change, but the door you had access to no longer exists. What people fail to understand is that the Sigma female doesn't operate on forgiveness loops or validation-seeking closure. She operates on alignment. And once that alignment is broken by betrayal, no amount of regret can rebuild it. So no, she won't confront you. She already understood you, and that was all she needed to leave. The punishment isn't rage, it's silence. And once she's gone, you'll feel it like a shadow that never quite leaves. Number 8, she doesn't want power over others. She wants immunity from them. She's not out to dominate anyone. She doesn't care about being the loudest in the room, the most admired, or the one everyone answers to. That's alpha territory, and she has no interest in that game. The Sigma female's version of power isn't about control, it's about immunity. She's not trying to climb a social ladder. She's building an off-grid fortress where no one's chaos can reach her. While others fight for attention and authority, she's focused on insulation. Not physical isolation, but emotional sovereignty. She wants to live in a way where people's moods, opinions, praise, or criticism can't penetrate her peace. That's her priority, not being followed, but being unbothered. She's seen what chasing influence does to people. It makes them perform. It ties their identity to validation. It turns every move into a brand, every thought into strategy. She wants none of that. In fact, the more people try to pull her into their orbit, the more she retreats. Because she's not powered by applause. She's powered by inner stillness. This is where most people misunderstand her. They think her distance is arrogance, or that she's afraid of competition. But the truth is, she's not even in the arena. She's somewhere else entirely, detached from the need to win, because she's already built a life no one can interrupt. And the way she maintains that power is subtle. She doesn't argue to prove her point. She doesn't chase to be understood. She doesn't engage in petty drama because reacting gives people access, and she guards that access like a vault. If your energy feels chaotic, entitled, emotionally invasive, she doesn't fight it. She just ghosts it. Her strength isn't measured in how many people listen to her. It's measured in how little she needs to be heard to stay centered. That's the essence of immunity. Not control over others, but untouchability from their dysfunction. So while others burn themselves out trying to influence the world, she's out here refining her detachment, her boundaries, her mental clarity. That's her empire. One with no throne, no subjects, and no need for applause. Just silence, sovereignty, and the kind of peace no one else can invade. Number 9. She tests you without you knowing. You think it's just a casual chat, small talk, jokes, maybe some light flirting. But in her mind, it's not just a conversation. It's a silent evaluation. A Sigma female is always testing, but never announcing it. She's not testing to manipulate or trap you. She's testing to protect herself. And by the time you realize you were being assessed, the results are already in. She's not listening to what you say on the surface. She's tracking subtext. How do you talk about people who aren't in the room? Do you dominate the conversation or leave space for others? Do you interrupt when the topic isn't about you? Are your words aligned with your energy, or are you performing? She doesn't ask you, are you emotionally available? She watches your patterns. She doesn't ask, can I trust you? She observes how you handle pressure, how you respond to silence, how your mask slips when you're not trying to impress. Every detail matters to her because she's not looking for compatibility. She's scanning for alignment. She'll throw in subtle questions that seem random, but they're not. When she asks about your childhood, she's checking your emotional self-awareness. When she goes quiet after a story, she's watching how you handle pauses without scrambling to fill them. When she listens to your opinions, she's not looking to agree. She's studying how tightly you cling to your identity. Are you flexible? Are you thoughtful? Are you dangerous? You won't feel like you're being tested because she's not aggressive about it. She doesn't posture, doesn't corner, doesn't challenge directly. Her test is in the flow. The trap is invisible. But her intuition is always decoding. What kind of energy do you carry? Will this person drain me, confuse me, challenge me, betray me, or elevate me? If you pass, you might earn her presence. But even then, the test never fully ends, not because she's paranoid, but because she's protective. Her essence is sacred, and if your energy feels even slightly off, she'll vanish without warning. Not out of cruelty, but because she already got her answer, and you'll never even know what question you failed. Number 10. She doesn't enter rooms, she alters atmospheres. She doesn't chase attention, she doesn't walk in loud, commanding the room with exaggerated confidence or showy energy. But the moment she steps in, something shifts. People straighten up. Conversations stall for a second. The air tightens. Not because she says anything, but because her presence introduces something the room wasn't prepared for. Self-awareness. A Sigma female doesn't enter a space looking to take it over. She simply exists with such unapologetic authenticity that it forces everyone else to confront their own performance. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. And alignment is disruptive in a world addicted to pretending. You won't hear her making noise, but you'll feel her. Her silence carries weight. Her eyes scan with purpose, not to judge, but to understand. She's not there to be seen, yet people notice her anyway. Not because she tries, but because she doesn't. That kind of self-possession is magnetic and unsettling. People suddenly become aware of their own insecurities, their masks, their exaggerated laughter. She doesn't call them out, they just feel it. Because when someone walks in who isn't performing, it highlights everyone who is. She makes you question yourself without saying a word. That's not intimidation. That's involuntary introspection. She doesn't manipulate the mood. She transforms it simply by existing in alignment with her truth. Her energy is clean, self-contained, and uninterested in theatrics. She's not performing strength, she is strength, refined, quiet, and impossible to ignore. This is why people either feel drawn to her or suddenly uncomfortable. There's rarely an in-between, because when she enters a room, she doesn't just take up space. She shifts its frequency. She doesn't match the vibe. She sets it. And you either rise to meet it, or you shrink in its presence. This is the Sigma female's quiet power. She doesn't demand the spotlight. She becomes the gravity field around which the spotlight shifts on its own. Not through noise, not through need, but through unshakable presence. Number 11. She doesn't heal by talking, she heals by reinventing. She doesn't sit in circles rehashing what broke her. She's not the type to cry it out on the phone or pour her heart into long, cathartic texts. That kind of emotional processing works for some, but not for her. Talking doesn't heal her, it drains her. Words feel too small to contain what she's carrying. So instead of explaining her pain, she reshapes her world around it. When something breaks her, she doesn't fix the wound with sympathy. She tears down everything that allowed it to happen in the first place. If a relationship shattered her self-worth, she doesn't just grieve it, she studies it. Then she restructures her boundaries, her time, her environment. She may quit the job, move cities, change her morning routine. She might go quiet for weeks, and when she re-emerges, she's unrecognizable, not because she's hiding, but because she's evolved. Healing to her is reconstruction. It's not a performance, it's not a timeline, it's a personal revolution. While others are venting, she's deleting. While others are overthinking, she's rebuilding. She's not interested in comfort, she's interested in transformation. If something inside her feels broken, she doesn't sit with the damage. She rewrites the architecture of her life so that version of her never lives there again, and this is what makes her so misunderstood. People think she's fine too quickly or cold or avoiding her feelings, but they don't see what's happening beneath the surface. They don't see the hours she spends redesigning her path, reprogramming her habits, studying the emotional fault lines that got her hurt in the first place. She doesn't just want to feel better, she wants to become untouchable by the thing that once destroyed her. So when she disappears after heartbreak or betrayal, it's not because she's lost. It's because she's busy rebuilding the next version of herself. The one with thicker walls, sharper vision, and a new map. And when she returns, she won't talk about what happened. You'll see it in how she moves, in what she no longer tolerates, in who she never speaks to again. Her healing isn't poetic, it's structural. And by the time she's done, the pain no longer fits in her new life. It doesn't even recognize her anymore. Number 12. She's attracted to minds that make her feel spiritually unsafe. She is not drawn to familiarity. She is not interested in people who simply agree with her, validate her, or echo her thoughts back to her. That feels dead to her. Predictable minds don't stimulate her. Shallow conversations drain her. When everything someone says is safe, obvious, or socially acceptable, she tunes out without warning. It is not that she is arrogant. It is that she is hungry for something deeper, sharper, more disturbing in the best way possible. What she craves is mental disruption. Not chaos, but challenge. She is attracted to minds that pull her out of her comfort zone and force her to rethink what she thought was settled. It could be an unfamiliar worldview, a question that slices through her assumptions, a calm rejection of ideas she once held close. It is not about agreement, it is about depth and the willingness to meet her there. When she finds someone who thinks on that level, it is electric, not romantic, cerebral, spiritual. She wants to feel like her soul is being questioned, not coddled. She wants to argue, not to win, but to expand. And if you can't meet her in that mental arena, she will go silent. Not out of rudeness, but disinterest. Your mind becomes invisible to hers. This is why superficial charm never works on her. You can have success, intelligence, good looks, a strong personality. None of it matters if your thinking is safe. If your worldview is built on slogans, trends, or unexamined beliefs, she will find no spark in you. She doesn't care how smart you sound. She wants to know how deeply you've thought. When someone makes her feel spiritually unsafe, it is not about fear. It is about awakening. Her inner world gets shaken, and she loves that feeling. It is rare. Most people bore her. But when someone flips her perspective upside down, even just once, they earn a kind of access no one else gets. She lives in her mind. So if your mind doesn't move her, she will never feel connected to you, no matter how nice you are. What turns her on isn't chemistry, it's collision. And if that never happens, you'll never hear from her again. A Sigma female doesn't follow rules. She writes them in silence. She doesn't shout her value. She radiates it without needing applause. She doesn't demand to be understood. She accepts that most people won't even recognize the depth of what she carries. And that's exactly where her power lies. Every move she makes is intentional. Every boundary, invisible but immovable. Every interaction, a quiet evaluation of energy, not performance. She doesn't live for external approval. She lives by an inner compass that never wavers, even when it costs her comfort, company, or being liked. In a world obsessed with image, noise, and attention, she is the contradiction no one can decode. Her silence is louder than most people's words. Her absence hits harder than false affection. Her ability to walk away without fanfare is the final proof that she was never here for validation, only truth. To understand a Sigma female is not to unlock her, it's to respect the fact that you never fully will. And that's the entire point. She is not here to be figured out. She is here to disrupt every shallow system that rewards conformity over character. She is mystery by design, power in human form, a rare soul who chooses solitude over spectacle, substance over spectacle, and sovereignty over social acceptance. You don't find her, you encounter her, and if you're lucky, you evolve from it. So the next time you meet one, don't try to impress her, don't try to decode her. Just know this. If she lets you stay, you're standing in the presence of something unreproducible. And if she walks away, understand, it wasn't a loss. It was a lesson in what cannot be caged. If this pulled back the curtain on the Sigma female's world and gave you chills, don't just scroll past. Subscribe to the channel right now. Tap that like button if you felt even one truth hit home, and drop a comment below. What rule surprised you the most? Or better yet, what did it reveal about you? Share this with someone who swears they know what a strong woman looks like. This will challenge that. And remember, this isn't just content, it's code. And you've just been initiated. So stay tuned because the next truth might just change how you see everything.